solution resist which resist changes in their pH value. Means they maintain their pH values up to some extent when acid or base are added to them. While this capacity, while this ability, we call it the buffer action. This clear? Now,
Yes, sir.
what are the necessity of a buffer solution? You know, when we go for the blood testing or drug formulation, we need solution of a specific pH. Or when we synthesize our material, we need a solution of specific pH. So that's why we need a solution of specific pH. But interestingly, it is very easy to make a solution. Then how to make them constant with a specific pH. So this is very difficult, that when we make a solution and its pH remains constant, because when when we make solution, we keep them in bottle. So what happen? Carbon dioxide from the air will get dissolved, so it will become more acidic. This is so it will the pH of the solution will change. Secondly, leaching will occur if we store it in a glass bottle. So leaching will into the solution. So again, the pH of the solution will change. So buffer are those solutions, they can maintain their pH up to some extent. If some material leach out into the solution matrix, or CO2 is get absorbed. So we need these type of solution in the industries as well as in the pharmaceutical, the health, and the health also. For example, we are going to test our blood, so we need to maintain the pH of the blood at a specific pH. So we have to carry out the testing of the the test at a specific pH of the blood. So we need this solution and the pharmaceutical as well as, and also and some of the testing also. So this is why we need a buffer solution. What kind of types of buffer solution? There are two types of buffer solution. One is called the acidic buffer solution. The second one is called the basic buffer solution. Acidic buffer solution. What means acidic buffer solution? Acidic buffer solution is a combination of weak acid and its salt with a strong base. For example, acetic acid and sodium acetate. When we mix them, these solution, when we make these two solution, it its salt, C3COONA. So this is called acidic buffer. Carbonic acid, NaHCO3, etc. These are the another buffer. So these are the example. So acidic buffer is a mixture of weak acid and acetic acid, which is a weak acid, CH3COONA, which is the conjugate base of sodium. So this is the acidic buffer solution. Basic buffer solution, for example, is in combination of weak base. Means the conjugate, for example, this is the conjugate base, but it will come from the strong acid. For example, sodium ammonium hydroxide plus NH3Cl, NH4Cl, so ammonium chloride. When we mix them, so the solution is called the basic buffer. So basic buffer. Okay. So there are two type of buffer. One is called the acidic buffer. The second one is called the basic buffer. So acidic buffer is the combination of weak acid and its salt with a strong base. For example, CH3COOH and CH3CONA. While the basic buffer is a combination of weak base and its salt. For example, NH4OH, NH4Cl, which is a salt. NH4OH is a base, NH4Cl is acid. How it maintain its pH, or how buffer acts. This is mechanism of action of acidic buffer. How it acts, or how it maintain its pH. For example, just if we have acidic buffer, then CH3COH, this is the acetic acid, and its salt CH3CONA. This is the buffer solution of these two. Where CH3CONA is a salt, while CH3COOH is acidic acid, which is the acetic acid. If we have the buffer solution of this, now if HCl is added, what will happen? How it will maintain its pH? For example, when HCl is added, so it will split, or it will produce hydrogen ion Cl negative. When hydrogen ion is produced, so automatically the pH will get down. I mean, it will it will become more acidic, because number of hydrogen ion is the measure of the acidity. So when hydrogen ion will increase, automatically the pH, it is expected that the pH of the solution will also will get down, or it will become more acidic. Okay. Now, how it acts? For example, HCl is added, it will produce hydrogen ion plus Cl negative. Now, in order to neutralize this hydrogen, excess hydrogen, so what happens? CH3COONA also get dissociated. It will produce sodium ion plus CH3CO negative. Now, this hydrogen will react with acetate ion to produce CH3COOH, which is the weak acid. So when it is weak acid, so already CH3COOH is there in the solution. So the pH of the solution will not drop by will not drop very badly or very low, because CH3COH is a weak acid. So this way it will neutralize the hydrogen ions of the strong acid which is being added into the buffer solution. Okay, this clear or not?
Clear, sir.
Okay, now how if base is added, how when a base is added, how it will maintain its pH? When base, for example, NaOH is added, so it will get dissolved in the Na plus OH negative. Now to neutralize the effect of external OH ion, what will happen? CH3COOH will get dissociated, it will produce hydrogen ion. This hydrogen ion will react with OH, which is added from the foreign, from external. So this will produce water, and then this will produce water. As a result, the pH of the solution will exceed or will not change by great extent. So the effect of the NaOH added will be neutralized by the acid which is already being in the solution. So this way, if acid is added, so what happens? The sodium acetate gets dissociated, and these acetate ions react with the hydrogen which is being added. So neutral acid, I mean the weak acid is produced, which will not change the pH of the solution to great extent. Similarly, if strong base is added, so they will the OH ions which is being added from external into the buffer solution, they will be neutralized by the hydrogen ions upon the dissociation of the CH3OH, which is a weak acid. So water is produced as a result, so the pH of the solution will remain constant. Okay, this clear?
Ji, sir.
Okay, now mechanism of action of basic buffers. If we have basic buffer, these were the acidic buffer. If we have the basic buffer, so if acid is added, again HCl, if for the supposed we have the buffer solution of NH4OH and NH4Cl, suppose it, we have the buffer solution of this one. Now if HCl is added, so what will happen? Again hydrogen ion will be introduced, and so this hydrogen ions, to in order to neutralize these extra or the burden hydrogen ion, what will happen? The NH4OH will get dissociated. So the OH ions of the buffer solution will react with the hydrogen ions of the added HCl. So they will be neutralized to produce water. and as a result, the pH of the solution will remain constant. So this is in the case of basic buffer if acid is added. If any OH is added, so again OH, again NH4Cl is there. In order to neutralize the effect of the NaOH, so what happens? NH4Cl is dissociated upon the because according to the Le Chatelier principle, if you remember, so NH4Cl, they will get dissociated. Hydrogen, ammonium ion will be produced, chlorine ion will be produced, and this ammonium ion will be neutralized by the OH, and as a result, NH4OH will be produced, which is a weak base, which is a weak base. As a result, the pH of the solution will not rise by great extent, and the pH of the solution as a whole will remain constant. Okay, this clear?
जी सर.
Sure.
Excuse me, sir.
सर
Sir,
एसिड
the
बेस
students
जो
sir with
होते हैं
Sir,
Yes, yes. Well,
sir, there is a screen recording, sir. उन्होंने शुरू का हम शुरू को सर डेर मेरा बानी बोल.
that's why I'm going to the slide. If you have some problem, you can ask me. You can ask me. I'm here for you. Okay. No need for the
सर एसिड बेस कंजुगेट जो है इतना वो टॉपिक है वो थोड़ा रिवाइज करवा दे उसकी बहुत बिल्कुल समझ नहीं आई
which one?
एसिड बेस कंजुगेट जो बनती है
The first one or the second one? This is CH3COOH. This one are the buffer, acidic buffer or the basic buffer?
Sir, acidic buffer.
Basic buffer, basic.
एसिडिक
दोनों
Okay, I will repeat both. For example, I said we have acid of two types. I mean the buffer are of two types. For example, which one is called the acidic buffer, and the second one is the basic buffer. Okay, acidic buffer. These we can divide the buffer solution into two: acidic buffer or the basic buffer. So acidic buffer, what are the acidic buffer? I said acidic buffer is a combination of weak acid. For example, CH3COOH. Acidic buffer is a weak acid in its salt, which of its conjugate base. CH3COO negative is a conjugate base, if you remember.
yes, sir.
Weak acid and salt with a strong base, conjugate base. If you remember, CH3COH, when it dissociate, it will produce CH3COO negative, which is called the conjugate base, and plus hydrogen ion. But shortly, we say that acidic buffer is a combination of weak acid and its salt with a strong base. Strong base CH3COO negative, which is called the conjugate base also. That's why conjugate base. Strong acid always produce conjugate base. CH3COO negative. Sorry, weak acid produce strong conjugate base. CH3COO negative plus H plus H positive. So when acetic acid dissociate, it will produce conjugate base or acetate ion plus hydrogen ion. So acidic buffer is a combination of weak acid and its salt with a strong base, which is CH3COO negative. Na, you remember this is the strong base, okay? Now carbonic acid also. So after that, basic buffer is a combination of weak base, for example NH4OH, in its salt with a strong acid. When it get dissociate, so CH3OH, it will produce OH negative, CNH4 plus. So this is strong acid. It because it will be able to attract the negative ion. For example, NH4Cl negative. Okay, so NH4OH is a strong, weak base, and its salt NH4Cl, which is a strong acid, a conjugate acid of strong acid. Okay, this clear?
Okay, sir.
This
Yes.
clear? Weak acid,
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
weak base, And salt with strong acid.
Sir, when we are talking,
Ji?
sir, sir, when we are talking about the buffer solution, in this the acidic component will react with the strong base of the added one or the weak base of the added one.
I said when this first you must understand what is the buffer solution, acidic buffer solution and basic buffer solution. Then I said how it acts. For example, how it maintain its pH. For example, I said if we have buffer acidic buffer solution, then automatically it will be weak acid and its salt. For example, CH3COOH, which is acetic acid, and then CH3COONA, which is a conjugate base or its salt. You can call it the C3COOH. When it reacts with NaOH, what will happen? C3CONA plus H2O will produce. So this is the conjugate. For example, this is the buffer solution. So how if strong acid is added, for example, HCl is added. So when we add HCl, so what will happen? HCl upon its dissociation, it will produce hydrogen ion plus Cl negative. Now this external H positive, if we add, so automatically the pH of the solution will be disturbed. But in the case of buffer solution, it will remain up to some extent constant. Why? Because we have in the buffer solution CH3CO Na. So sodium acetate will be there. So when H is added, so what will happen? This salt will get dissociated. CH3COO negative, which is called the conjugate base. This will be produced. So this conjugate base will react with hydrogen ion, which is being added from external, which when they will react, CH3COH will be produced. Okay, which is the weak acid. So upon production of the weak acid, hydrogen ion of the strong acid is being neutralized. So the pH of the solution will not change. Okay, this clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay,
Now,
sir.
when base is added, for example, NaOH is added, automatically when base is added, so for the base, we must have acid in the solution. So NaOH is added, so it will get dissociate into Na plus OH negative. So when there is, so we have OH negative from the external, this is the external force. This must change the pH of the solution, but it never happened in the case of buffer solution because we have CHCOOH, we have the acetic acid, so it will get dissociate. So acetate ion will be produced, hydrogen ion will be produced. So this hydrogen ion will react with OH ions of the NaOH to neutralize it. Water will be produced. As a result, the pH of the solution will remain constant. This clear? This is in the
Ji,
case
sir.
of acid. This is in the case of acidic buffer solution. If we have the basic buffer solution, for example, NH4OH plus NH4Cl, what happens if HCl is added? So hydrogen ion will be produced. So we have NH4OH in the solution. So they will get dissociate. Upon the dissociation, OH negative will be produced. So this will neutralize the added HCl, so water will be produced. As a result, the pH of the solution will remain constant. And secondly, if base is added to the basic buffer solution, what happens? NaOH is added. So OH negative plus Na plus will be produced. So in order to neutralize the effect of the NaOH added, what happens? NH4Cl is already there in the buffer solution, so it will get dissociate. So what happens? The NH4 plus will react with the OH negative. So upon this one, NH4OH, which is a weak base, is produced. As a result, the pH of the solution will not change. You can see the hydroxyl ions yielded by the NaOH are therefore quickly removed as unionized ammonium hydroxide, and the pH of the solution is only slightly affected. Means up to some extent change, but not change to grad. Okay, so the pH of the solution will remain almost constant. This is clear.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any question, please? Because tomorrow I finish with that one. Tomorrow we will how to determine the pH of the buffer solution. So this is another topic. So first we have to, because about the buffer solution, so far we finished. So any question, please?
Sir, the
What are the
Switch off your switch off your
The mic off, please.
switch off your mics. Yes.
Sir, the among second chapter start ko.
No, this is the first chapter about the solution. We are still in the solution chapter. So hopefully by this week we will finish the first chapter. So
Ji
inshallah
sir.
next week we will start with the new chapter.
Okay sir,
Sir,
inshallah.
suggest a good book.
Sir, sir the come slides zida lag kindly mung the send ki the students
Sure. I said I will transfer each and everything upon when I finish, because रोजाना तो मैं आपको ये नहीं कर सकता कि मैं सेंड करो when I finish the first chapter, as far as when I finish, then I will transfer it to you, okay, the slides.
Ji
But
sir,
now
ji
you
sir, ठीक है
can,
sir.
I said you can note each and every point. If you have some problem, then you can discuss with me, okay.
जी sir, ठीक है sir.
Any question, please? Then I will stop here. No question.
No sir,
No
bas thank
questions
you
sir.
Sir,
sir.
suggest a good book, please.
Uh, good book. Every book is good book. Okay.
सर हम फिर
सर हम उससे
ईयर की और सेकंड
थोड़ी
ईयर की
सी
बुक इस्तेमाल कर सकते
आपका पढ़ सके ना, इसलिए मैं कह रही हूँ ऑनलाइन हम पढ़ सके उससे।
जी, आपकी आवाज अच्छी
सर
तरह नहीं आ
बता
रही।
सर लेक्चर प्रोवाइड की देना बिया हो गुरे ठीक था
हैं सर
और
अगर
या
हम
एफएससी चे
फर्स्ट
कम बुक्स दिया के मस्त
I will provide the materials, uh, all which I have. I mean, in the slides. Also, you can follow the books. Jerry Christian, there's analytical books you can follow for it for the solution. Jerry Christian.
Thank you,
Jerry
sir.
Christian, which is very important book, which is very nice book also for the analytical chemistry, as all these problems and also these topics are there in the Jerry Christian book. Okay, okay, thank you so much, and take care of yourself. Okay.
दे वो बंद करे क्या लग गए हो सर अटेंडेंस वाली सर
But oh, attendance wale. Another important thing, but you are GRCR, I think you have two GR, you have two CR, isn't it?
यस सर
जी सर
So this is the responsibility of some of the students complain that we haven't received the assignment on time. But if you remember, I followed this, I forward this assignment submitted after this is, you can see, first, dear students, submit the given assignment by 8 p.m. today. It means this is 1:33. I forward this text to the student, to the GR and CR, not to the GR, only to the CR, which at 1:30 p.m. yesterday.
सर मा पर 133 बाने टोलो
So,
तो सेंड करे
so how
133
she
बाने
यस
said,
सर
how
सर ने ना मेरे को सेंड किया था
4 o'clock something received.
how she
सर
said
मा पर ई
we
ग्रुप दे पर
haven't received the
133 बाने
assignment
वर
in
करे
time. It's 1:30
Sir, mom,
p.m.
the physical time he received the assignment.
Singa Bashu?
Sir, mom, तकरीबन माजीगर टाइम मुझ मुंग लगा
ना
या जी आर ओ
बात
जी
सही
सर
है
साइन
बच्चों माँ को
और मुंग तो ना पता लगे जे सी आर तक पता लगे दले दा असाइनमेंट बिया मुंग गए ना तो पोसो को ना आगे वो सर
ना
मत फॉरवर्ड
बस
करे दे
माँ को सी आता दा मैसेज करो कि inform the students and forward this assignment to all the students by 1:30 p.m. and submit. And then I said I give the time 8 p.m. not sharp time, but I give a long time to solve because this assignment can be solved by 1:30 minutes also. I know.
सही है सर सर it was first time सर खैर दे पहले सर ले
No, this is
compromise
because I was really hurt when I learned when I and hear about that you are cheating with each other. So I will must give the punishment to the students, those who committed this one.
सर वो डिस्कशन बांधे ना दे करे सर मुंग ते लगा मसला ना मुंग तो पोसो को द वैल्यूज और दे चला
No,
आंसर
I said you are not allowed to.
जी सर
I said you are not allowed to cheat during when I am teaching to you. So if you
यस
have
सर
a
सर ये
problem,
सर दाखो तास ता बबले मुंग कंप्लेन करी उच बीच दा कि सर ना खुद चादू ना चेट ना
but
देता मुंग हो सर
say the task cheat kara, then I will give the assignment and more. Just prepare for the paper. It will be very hard for you people.
जी सर
Sorry, sir. Eu că spam
ओके
chat
सर
निकल
बस
sir.
तो
Sorry.
No, if
We are
if
really
we
sorry, sir.
सर लास्ट टाइम हम तास तो मांगा सर मुंग देता हुई चला के
if
बीच
you
एट के मुंग
rewind
डिस्टर्ब
it,
की
if
गु
your student,
और सर दी
the student behavior change, then I
जी
will accordingly change my behavior
जी
also.
सर सॉरी सर मुंग टोल तरफ ना तास तो सॉरी ओकू सर नेक्स्ट
We
टाइम
are really
इंशाल्लाह दा
sorry, sir.
सॉरी नहीं सर सॉरी
بس offline shay, Shabbat told offline shay, and don't talk to each other. Just when I said get offline from the panel, then hurry up.
Sir जी attendance हुआ
Attendance बची attendance
अटेंडेंस
वाला
में
शाबाश है और
सर अटेंडेंस में
हाँ
अगस्त
जी
तो
सही है sir.
अटेंडेंस में अगस्त तो काइंडली लीव की तासो
फरहान screenshot ते हुआ कुछ तो
आओ अटेंडेंस में अगस्त
or see GR also GR you must be very active. If you are the GR of the class, you must be very active.
यस सर
सर थी तमाचे कम दे सर पर 133 बंदे फॉरवर्ड करे दे वो बस बिया दादी दी एक्सक्यूजेस दी कना लेट मिलाओ शे लेट मिलाओ शे ग्रुप के माउस मैसेज को तो पर
यस सर
133 दी तमावर करे
I myself keep the records, what time I have forwarded and what time I have received. One of the student, some of the students forward the assignment at 10. Wow. How
सर
I will accept this assignment?
सर मास्टर
सर जी थोड़ा
असाइनमेंट
टाइम
जोरा
देखिए
लोग
मैं
का
स्ट्राइक
सर
आर्ट
वो
क्लास
जिन
टू
पूछ रहा
बार
था
लड़कियों
और
ने
सर
ना
तासु
आज
माते
से
वेल
पहले
स्टॉप न
सिखाया
तासु
था
तमाने दे
Do you
फॉरवर्ड
know
करे
this assignment carries 20 marks?
ओ माय गॉड
जी सर
सर लड़कियों ने मुझे है ना बहुत सी लड़कियों ने मुझे टाइम पे दिया था और मैंने आपको टाइम पे आपने जब मुझे कहा ना स्टॉप तो मैंने उसके बाद
You, don't time to minute
यस सर
automatically time is there and this way I said forward it to me by WhatsApp because time is there. You can see the time, what time this message is being forwarded. So I will know the time and then I will check what time it is being. So I will accordingly. Okay.
ओके
ठीक है
सर
सर स्टूडेंट्स लीव की तासु
Okay.
को
Leave this.